Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another video. All right, y'all, back with a little discussion video here on Claressa Shields. As you know, Claressa Shields, she's been working over the past few months trying to make her transition into the world of MMA. And, she's linked up with Jackson Wink Gym. Been working with fighters like John Jones, Holly Holm, Michelle Watterson. Working with Michelle Watterson. And I know a lot of people feel like, this gym isn't going to do wonders for her. But, I don't know. I can't really say because it's all in what Claressa takes out of it, and I think that's another video that we can, make on that and discuss how successful she'll be with uh Jackson Wink Gym. But what I'm more curious about is what type of approach Claressa Shields is going to take in the octagon. I know it's still early to tell. It's going to be too early in her first two, three, four fights. But what I'm really wondering in this video is what type of style will suit her in the world of MMA. I know right away a lot of people are going to say striker. A lot of people are going to feel like striker is what Claressa Shields will be throughout her whole MMA career. But the more I look at her, she's not really the type of fighter that just goes in there and let her hands go and just depends on the speed or depends on the footwork. She's not really sticking and moving on the balls of her feet, like a light on her feet type of fighter, a flurry type of fighter. She's a strong puncher. She's good at measuring distance. She turns her punches over nicely, throws combinations at the right time, but she can be a little bit more stationary and flat footed at times. You know, um, she's been more of an IQ boxer, not really like an athletic boxer, if that makes sense. She has a little bit of athleticism, but I feel like she's more of a smart boxer that uses little tricks and uses little old school veteran tricks in there, nice little techniques with the slip in, the counter punching, and even the inside fighting. So, with that being said, a lot of the tricks that she uses in boxing, of course, won't transition over to MMA. Like being flat footed or being stationary or being front foot heavy. Once you start to link up with a striking coach that's going to help you transition, your knowledge of boxing into the striking world, you can be a little bit more effective. You're going to have to learn how to be more, less front foot heavy and less stationary. And I still feel like, right now, I feel like Claressa Shields, she's really getting the feel of what she can do with her body. Working in mixed martial arts, you can really start to get to know your body. You can start to feel what you're comfortable in, using muscles you've never used before, that you've never used in boxing. So she'll be finding out where she's weak and where she's strong. She might find out that she might be more of a natural in some departments, even like on the ground or in the clinch. So that's what I'm curious about in this video. I just want to go through some different points here that's going to kind of tell us what type of fighter Claressa Shields is going to be in the octagon. I got a few different points that's going to help us decide that, and then I'm going to give you my final thought on what type of fighter I feel like Claressa Shields will be in the octagon. So much just like with boxing, the first point I have that's going to come into major play is just like in boxing, but it's definitely going to be even more so in MMA. And of course, that's body type. It's definitely going to come into play in mixed martial arts because you're using your whole body. So body type is the first factor that's going to really decide what type of style is good for her. Claressa Shields, she's a good sized woman. She's listed at 5'10". I've looked everywhere. She's listed at 5'10", and she's one of the tallest women in WMMA. She's 2 inches shorter than Megan Anderson, 1 inch shorter than GDR, 2 inches taller than Holly Holm and Kayla Harrison. So she'll be towering over some of these lightweights and featherweights. She'll have that height advantage. And frame wise, she's a naturally thick woman in the hips and below. That's why I tell people this. Just because she came from the boxing background like Holly, what Holly does is not necessarily going to work for Claressa Shields because their body types are different. She's a little bit bigger, a little bit taller than Holly Holm. And like I said, she has more of a solid foundation on the bottom, more bottom heavy. You know, um, so with that being said, when you look at a fighter like Holly Holm, she's more so athletic. She moves around a lot. She's more speed based. Where Claressa, she might bounce around on her feet a little bit, but I think her style will be a little bit more grounded. You know, she might be a fighter where she uses timing more. She's going to have to use timing more, and I think that once she masters takedown defense, that foundation that she has is really going to come into play with that. It's really going to be good for her, especially when she works on her kicks. I think the body kicks are going to be vicious from Claressa Shields once she gets that skill set. And also coming from the boxing background, she already knows about clinching and holding, to help buy time and just tire opponents out. So once she uses that frame and that size that she has in the clinch, it could really work wonders for her, especially if she started working with like a solid Thai boxing coach. She can learn how to get into Thai clinches and really like control heads and control like movement of fighters, when she gets that Thai clinch. And then she can work them knees, powerful knees to the body. So once you factor those different things in and also mastering takedown defense, that body type of hers could really come into play and be a benefit for her. Once she learns how to use her height, size, and reach. Megan Anderson, she's still more of a calculated striker from the outside. She's a puncher. But once you get on the inside of her, it's like her limbs get a little tangled, and she's easy to she's game when she's taken to the ground. So I feel like if Claressa knows her body type now, she can be very effective with it and be a very strong, dominant fighter with that. Next thing I'll point out is boxing experience. Claressa's experience in boxing is definitely going to come into play more ways than one. Not just the hands, but the ability to measure distance. That's something second nature to Claressa now. A lot of boxers, where they can just eye distance and eye when they're in a fighter's power zone and how to stay out of their jabbing zone. Of course, the difference here is when you factor in kicks and dealing with like wrestlers and grapplers. You're gonna have to know how to eye whenever somebody's about to shoot in for a takedown, or eye their reach with a high kick or a body kick or like a leg kick. You got to stay out of that zone. So I feel like the more she spars with like kickboxers and fighters that switch levels, her range finding will adjust to MMA fighters. She already has that boxing experience with eye and range. So once she starts to work in with more MMA fighters, it's going to make that adjustment for her. She'll be able to eye that, so spend countless hours of training. And I think that'll be something that she can master, using her boxing experience. Um, Ring generalship, of course, it'll become octagon generalship, and she'll already have that ability to fight at her pace, stay up on the cards, and know when to attack, know when to just kind of fall back and stay out of your opponent's attack zone. Like say if they're losing a round and they try to come back, you know how to go on the back foot and just kind of ride out the round after you already won it. So those are just little things from her boxing experience that will come into play on her style in the world of MMA. Another thing I have to say is comfort. Her comfort level. This is another thing that's seriously going to come into play on what type of fighter Claressa Shields is going to be, mentally and physically. I think Claressa, she can be a confident striker. She can master takedown defense. She can fight well in the clinch, and she can become a solid fighter on her feet. So whatever she really gains comfort in first, that's what type of fighter we're going to see her be. That's probably what type of style she's going to fall into. It could be grappling. It could be inside wrestling. It could be any of that stuff. So I think that whatever she gets comfortable in, that's probably what she's going to use more of and what she's going to transition um, into her like PFL debut. So you could probably see her going in the clinch at a point if she feels like she's a natural at that, or you could see her becoming more of a kickboxer if her kicks become more fluid. So I think her comfort level is going to help decide what type of style also. Last point is her ability to learn, her ability to soak up this information and execute it. MMA, there's so many more weapons, so many more opportunities to score wins, and there's so many more things to go wrong. So you have to be open to taking in everything and getting the basics of everything. Like I said, for wrestlers, knowing the basics of boxing is important. So same goes in reverse for strikers and boxers. So Claressa, she has to be all eyes. She has to be all ears when taking this in and willing to deal with kicks, chokes, learning to tap. Even in the gym now, whenever she gets taken to the ground, she's going to have to know when to tap from arm bar, Kimura, whatever it is, just so she doesn't get damaged. So learning how to be humble is another thing. So there's just so many things for her where she has to soak it up and learn it. And I think that she does have that mindset to, admit defeat even in training, even in sparring. You have to be humble early on because, boxing is a different world than MMA. So when you come over here, you're almost like learning to walk again. I mean, you can take in some of what you know from boxing into striking and some of your mindset as far as, like I said, with distance management, things like that. But you got to be open to these other worlds like wrestling and BJJ, and being able to get out of submissions. It's a totally different world. So yeah, her ability to learn what she really learns and what she soaks in and what she's able to execute. That's going to be helping decide what type of fighter she's going to be. So looking at all that, looking at the boxing experience, looking at her body type, her comfort level, her ability to learn, looking at all those points that I made for Claressa Shields, I think the style that's going to suit her best will be a stand-up fighter, a striker slash clinch fighter. And I think that Claressa, with her boxing background, she can learn the transition, the stance, and the footwork to suit her and help her avoid leg kicks as well. And she can learn how to throw some nice body kicks. Once she knows how to use that core, once she really knows how to use that core and really get into that flow of moving around on her feet, she'll start throwing some nice body kicks. And I think once her legs and core get stronger, she'll become more willing to bounce in and out and avoid head kicks and land combinations, move similar to somebody like Norma Dumont, somebody with that similar body frame, another woman with big legs and a stand-up game. Norma Dumont, she knows how to move in and out, and judge distance good with her striking, land some good leg kicks as well. So also, if she uses her height and her strength, the clinch can be her home. Landing knees on the inside, stepping in and out, just trying to control the head, getting that respect from her opponent, controlling the outside. It should be no problem. It really should be no problem as long as she lands those authoritative shots. Looking at a weight like lightweight and featherweight, it's going to be a weight where you really have to pace yourself a little bit more. The girls are going to get more heavier here. So if Claressa works on her stamina and cardio now, she could have one up over them where she could be a little bit more busy. And, she could take advantage of that, because sometimes when these girls come in heavier, she can work the body and work a little bit longer than some of these heavier girls do. So, yeah, that's what I think, man. Those are my thoughts on what style will probably suit Claressa in the beginning, in maybe her first few fights. But of course, maybe down the line, I think the more and more she becomes disciplined, you'll see the style change up down the stretch. But early on, I think that she'll become a striker, also a clinch fighter. She'll be a good clinch fighter on the inside. She'll work on that takedown defense. She'll avoid the ground for a little bit, fight more rugged on the inside and be a little bit more physical. She's going to really try to defend those takedowns and try to work some volume here and there with her striking. I think when she learns how to take the steam off all of her punches, she'll throw more in volume for a lightweight, similar to Joanna. But yeah, the ground game and the wrestling game, that's something that she's going to need to learn down the way and learn the basics with time. So you really won't see her going in there becoming like a BJJ specialist after the third or fourth fight. She's going to take her time with that, but you will see her using her takedown defense early on. You will see her sprawling and defending and stuffing takedowns early, I think, with her size and her physical strength. But yeah, man, Claressa Shields, I think early on, like I said, striker slash clinch fighter, fighting on the inside, using big knees, elbows. When she learns how to throw those elbows, I think she's going to fall in love with those. So you'll see her doing a lot of stand-up fighting here and a lot of inside fighting early on. But yeah, man, that's all I got on this one. Like I said, just wanted to go back and give you all my thoughts on what type of style Claressa Shields is going to bring to the table early. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what y'all think. Like always, make sure y'all subscribe. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Peace.